Hello, this is South Africa at 30, a podcast brought to you by Brand SA, where we look at the country through a lens of growth potential and opportunity. I'm Jeremy Maggs, and it's my job to showcase and engage stakeholders, decision makers, and general movers and shakers as we retrace where we came from, take a view on where we're going and how we're getting there. Now, if the stories about my guest are to be believed, you can press a button and he'll sing, he'll dance, he'll rap. In fact, he is so talented, there's not much that he can't do. Mzwaki Mbuli Jr., better known by his stage name Robotboi, has made real waves in the local entertainment industry, but is fast becoming a proud ambassador for the country abroad, thanks in part to social media. A very warm welcome to you, and let me start up front by asking you, what do I call you? Robot or Mzwaki?
Thanks for having me out here. Basically, call me Robot, that's the name, that's the brand.
Where does the robot come from?
It comes from me being programmed by God, fueled by the Spirit, fueled by the blood, controlled by the Spirit. And the different functions that I do as a brand, I think it makes sense. A robot has to be programmed and it does different things per different function. So that's where you get the dancing and the multiple talents for voiceovers, the ice skating, the instruments, the hosting, presenting, rapping, writing, shooting.
And that's in the first hour of the day. Then what do you do? What do you do for the rest of it?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like one whole day. In fact, I think on Saturday, there was a day where I did training in the morning, basketball. Then I went to dance rehearsals. Then I went to see my dad. Then I went to attend a screening. Then I went to studio to record. And I was like, that's the day I was counting that day. Like that's so many things in one day.
I'm interested, as we're having this conversation, we are in a studio that overlooks, or it has a public view. And I see people walking past and you acknowledging them.
Yeah.
How important is that fan base for you and the relationship that you have with people who appreciate the work that you're doing? Because in my long experience as an interviewer, and I've interviewed some pretty famous people before.
Yeah, I heard of
Not everybody is nice. Not everyone's humble. Not everyone is prepared to give of themselves. I'm sensing something different here.
I think for me, it's over it being God-given talents. The people are a big contribution to your success. They buy your music. They like your content. They share your following. They like your profile. So it's like. And what the saddest thing is that when you say there's other people that don't do that, it's some people are talented, but they're introverts. And it's like, I've got these skills, but I don't really want to be around people. And that's interpreted as you don't appreciate us as fans or whatever, So for me, it's like, I'm cool with people and I've always been a people's person. So when the talents got me here, it's like, even better. Now I can interact with people that are like supporters of my work and I can have conversations with them.
Do you do it willingly though, and with joy? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I've been in the public eye for a long time too. I'm a bit of an introvert. I like to, once I know a person, then the conversation is fine. But to make that initial outreach, I find difficult, and more difficult as I've got older.
Hectic. Yeah. I think I get you. For me, it's like I'm very quick on my feet. So there's certain things, obviously with content creation and skits and being a comedian too, it's like when I see someone and something happens, I'll think of a scenario, I'll think of a moment, So sometimes someone comes to me with the phone and they're trying to take a picture, but the phone is like, or trying to take a video, and the video is not recording. So they're already in action, like, yo, guys, I'm here with Robotboi. The inner me can't just let that happen. I'll take the phone, press record. And
dude, let me help you.
You know what I mean? Like those type of things. Or someone on the phone saying, yo, people like Robotboi are here. And I'll walk past and I'll say, yo, people like Robotboi are here. And then I surprise the person that's over the phone and just having an actual moment with the actual fan. It's like, willingly, because it's just, I believe, there's so much love to give that, it's this day. I was born in a household of love. Our names, my siblings and I mean love. Thandeka means lovable. Thandanani means love one another. Mthandeni means love him. So I was raised around love, and I think that's the best thing I give over my talents.
Talking about love, what's your relationship with this beautiful, difficult, tortured, happy, sad country of ours?
Yo, man, like I think the relationship is firstly traveling made me realize that there's no place like home. And I know that's a cliche statement, but there really is no
It's
place
not a
like
cliche
home.
if it's true.
Yeah, you know, so there isn't a place like home because in South Africa, especially, it's Ubuntu, you know. Ubuntu, the basic hi, how are you, you know? Looking out for each other, someone drops something, you pick something up for them. Like just that care in a sense. The unity, the diversity, and unifying in terms of the sports. You know, we don't understand rugby, but Springboks are doing well. Let's go learn it. Let's go support. Same with Proteas, same with artists, music. And I think the country is we are the root of a lot of things, man. When I went to Rwanda to attend the Trace Awards, half the performances from Africa that were performing dance styles from South Africa, you know? So it's like we're that talented kid in the classroom that doesn't have all the resources. But the whole class knows that that kid is dope. And one day when the kid gets enough money to get the right resources or the right kit, they'll perform better on sports, on the field type of thing. But they're doing what they can with what they have. And I think that's where we are as a country.
So, what do we need to do to shine a brighter light on ourselves, do you think?
We need the right support, I think, financially, because we already believe in ourselves. We already have their attention. We've proven to the world that we're dope. I think it's a matter of the right. For example, I'll make an example of Courtney Paul. Courtney Paul went to the Olympic qualifiers as far as the breakdancing category for females is concerned. So not only is breakdancing a new category in Olympics, but she's a female now from South Africa. So she was speaking of things like she has to go there and worry about her registration and figure out her timing, figure out her calendar, figure out where she needs to be, versus someone else who has a team of 6 people. Where this is a physician, this is the gym trainer, this person is sorting out her logistics, this person is checking out her outfits and her uniform, and all she has to do is focus on the craft of the competition. You know what I mean? So it's like if we had that as a country too, I know of other countries where one artist is nominated for a BET award, but they take everybody from the whole record label to attend the awards. You know what I mean? So that type of support, like, yo, one of our own is nominated, but let's all go to get the experience and to see and to understand what it is to be that side and to get that exposure from being in such a room to come back inspired and change the country. You know what I mean? So I think it's that, man. Is you know, we're doing a lot of the stuff by ourselves on our own, but I think that support, because what ends up happening is only now when you've won something, the country goes, yeah, you know, but not the people in the country, just the people in power and the people that have the ability to help and support. They almost wait for a semi-final or a final or a gold medal or an award to then jump, you know?
Do you think that we celebrate our own creativity enough? And let me tell you why I ask you that question. I've been very privileged in another career incarnation to have attended an advertising festival every year in the south of France. And South Africa definitely punches above its weight creatively. Doesn't matter whether it's music, dance, advertising, writing, whatever the case is. But I remember when I was there, if a Brazilian advertising agency won a big award, the entire country and continent celebrated the accomplishment. Big news headlines, television crews. When we did it in South Africa, we were almost a little bit embarrassed about it. We weren't there. We didn't want to shout out about our success. And I wonder whether we wouldn't be a better nation brand if we celebrated creativity, people like you, a little bit more emphatically. Do you think I'm kind of on track there?
You are on track, and I think slowly it is changing, because I think with the Grammys, the BETs, the sports, there's like an influx of success at once, where we all go, okay, guys, you know, even those that are sleeping on ourselves, are realizing that, okay, we're actually dope and we're good and big as a country. But I think the other thing is we're so we're so talented in this country that we used to the talent and the creativity. And I think that's the thin line where it's like everybody in the room is dope. And we miss the fact that we all dope because we all dope versus someone else from outside that sits in the room and is in awe of the creativity and wants to celebrate us in a large way. We so used to the talent that maybe we should, I don't know if not be used to it or realize how good it is, but only when we outside we actually get to realize it. Like Amapiano is big as well in the country. We know that. But because we always cooking up a new dance, a new sound, it's like it is what it is because it's us, it's what we do. Only when we leave the country and a security a bouncer from a hotel in Dubai says, "Hey, Robotboi,"
we see the impact. Yeah,
yeah. Only then it's like, damn, this thing is actually big. So I think what's tricky is the line between being there's this English word, man, being accustomed to it,
yeah, that's right,
versus acknowledging every win. So I think that's why we don't really celebrate every win like that, because we're like, yeah, we're the people, versus celebrating every win to make us realize how good we actually are.
Which puts a lot of responsibility on the shoulders of someone like yourself. So you are a recognized and awarded entertainer and influencer. Do you think that, or how do you see your role as showcasing South African culture and the talent that we've just spoken about on a global stage?
Yeah.
Because you're a slim guy, but you've got to have hefty shoulders in order to carry that responsibility. I'm right, eh?
Yeah. I think, for example, so when I won the dance award at Trace, the first thing I mentioned was the country, where I'm from and what we do, and how most of the influence that's coming out of what you're seeing is from South Africa. So always acknowledging that, always representing us, even in the patterns, the Ndebele patterns or the merch. This is a jacket from Karaki, a local brand they cook these jackets in like 30 minutes.
It's a beautiful
way,
jacket,
right?
man.
And it's reversible. So being in the light like that or having that responsibility, I think it's always acknowledging where we're from, always helping out local brands, local artists, not being afraid to like something, post something, reshare something, support something, and that is the biggest way you can, because you can say, yo, South Africa, the South Africa that, versus the actions, Someone on Twitter saying, hey, I do welding. And I say, yo, come weld some stuff on the wall and let me have my shoes on my wall through your welding stuff. And then I market his welding with the guy that designs my shoes from South Africa with a song that I created with another South African. And in one content piece of video, you realize that I'm putting on like 3 different companies and 3 different entrepreneurs just from one content piece. And I think that's what it is. Always having the opportunity to, instead of making an international outsider shine, let's start home. Let's start in South Africa.
Is that philosophy, and it's a laudable philosophy, is it instinctive to you, or have you had to work on it strategically?
I think it's been there, We've always been taught that charity starts at home. Also, I've been on the ground a lot to not really see everything that's further than what's in my view. So I know these local brands are down the road. I know this guy called Umpendu runs a brand called Clean that's from K1, So I think I've always been in reach of a lot of the stuff. And what I wanted to do is then use my influence too, because a friend of mine once said, when am I doing my own music? When am I doing my own merch? When am I doing, because I used to support other people's music, other people's merch, other people's events. And it's like, it's always been in me to use the talents to try and market everybody else's thing. So I think it was just in me. I didn't really have to think about it much. But with the position I'm at now, it is something I will make sure of in terms of prioritizing.
So what do you see as the principal pillars then of brand Robotboi?
The principal pillars of the brand Robotboi is obviously God being the foundation and God-given talents being put out in that sense. Aspiration, if anything else, because ngintwana seSoweto, you know what I mean? Born in Pimville, raised Mdeni, Nasina lady. And I think Self-qav. Self-qav is a slang word where we say, this person doesn't have self-qav, this person has self-qav. It's almost being self-aware. But qav is more like you need to really see who you are, know who you are and what you stand for. Like, if I'm a clean brand that doesn't involve myself in substance, then that's what I must be, in or out of the industry, in or out of the country. So the values must stay consistent, and your consistency is what's going to make people realize that you are true to who you are, and not being changed or deformed by the industry or whatever space you're in. And that is what it is. Those are the main pillars of the brand.
And the older you get, how is that going to change, do you think? Because a good brand is always evolving.
Yes.
So how do you plan your journey of evolution?
So the evolving is with the creativity, but the character stays the same. See, because character will sustain where your talent takes you. A lot of people have talent, but when they get the limelight, when they get the fame and the money, then they crumble and fall. But the character is what solidifies the brand. So whatever happens through the talent, it will evolve, it will be relevant, it will stay consistent and stay growing, but the character has to remain solid.
So using that example as an individual, what lessons then can a country like South Africa learn from that? And particularly about staying true to the course, but also making sure that there is an evolution.
I think with that, the trickiest thing is people behavior, running a country or calling South Africa a brand is a bit tricky, because you have individuals that are for the brand, that are pushing the brand, and then individuals that aren't really. And some of the times, the people that aren't pushing the brand are the people that are in power. So the momentum dies out on this side, and people end up losing motivation and no longer being inspired to push this country, because they're seeing no results in terms of the growth or the push. And then the people in power just almost don't co-sign the creativity and the brand push. So it's easy for one individual or for two people in a room to decide. But when a lot of us are at play, it gets tricky. It's the same like a classroom. If a classroom decides...
It gets noisy.
Yeah, it gets noisy. And you can have a teacher's pit. You can have a teacher's pit, and you can have the A student. And then you can have the corrupt boys at the back. So the corrupt noise is going to affect how the teacher's pit gets to engage with the teacher, or how the A student gets to learn. It doesn't mean the class doesn't have an A student. It doesn't mean the class average is going to go down. But so many heads are at play here that it gets a bit tricky.
So when you were at school, were you the A student, the teacher's pet, or were you at the back of the class?
I was the class clown at the back of the class. But just in my defense, I had timing, man. My jokes were when the teacher was out the class or when we were done doing what we're supposed to do. So I wasn't really disruptive, but I was just the character. In fact, I used to make jokes to the teachers, and I used to impersonate the teachers too. So I think that's why I had a dope relationship with my teachers.
So performance was in your blood from a very early age, from your family side, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was just something that you inherently built.
Yeah. It was like, I used to say this thing. I used to say a lot of people can fake a smile, but not a laugh. So I believe a smile you can fake, like when the camera comes out, when you're having a bad day and you just need a smile. But a laugh is something it almost comes out when it's real. So I thought to myself, if I can just try and make someone laugh, maybe it can change their mood or their day. And that's how me being a class clown was one of those things where, let me be entertaining while we're learning through this maths that's boring. Let's try add some things to it. Or I used to be a bodyguard at school, where my maths teacher never used to check homework. He used to get myself and my boy called Khosi to check the homework. So he'd say my bodyguards, then he would stand up, and then he would check our homework, and then we'd check everybody else's homework. So now the process is fun because people are trying to hide their homework, and I'm like, hey, dog, why didn't you finish the things? Like, I tried, I only did 4-3. I'm like, okay, cool. Just make sure, So we almost like covering each other up here and there, and then some people are making jokes. I'm like, sir, this one is giving me Afrikaans homework. Sir. By the time the class laughs, I'm like, nah, I'm joking, they done, So those type of little activities in school just to change the mood of the room was how what I was about.
Were you good at maths?
I did maths grade 10, and then maths lit grade 11 and 12.
Enough after that. Eh?
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it to say I can,
Yeah.
but I don't need to struggle for the rest of the. Also, because I knew my creativity was almost gonna take me there. I didn't have specific subjects that I was chasing for a specific career.
Did you know that you were inherently creative, or was it something that you were told and that you decided to build on it, or a bit of both?
I think it's a bit of both. Obviously, knowing my upbringing, my surrounding, I could obviously know that, okay, some of these DNAs are gonna
Rub
off eventually. But also my just the little things I used to do used to get me thinking, wow, okay, how did I listen to this song twice and I already know the whole lyrics to them? Maybe I catch on music quickly, or I get on a drum kit and I start playing what I heard earlier, so I can play from hearing. I don't need to be taught, like the songs with and then I come okay, cool. And then so like the dancing, I see something and Michael Jackson, I stand in front of the TV and I'm showing my sisters the routine. So I don't have to watch him do it. I'm doing it in inverse because I need to match him on the TV. And it's like, okay, I think I'm pretty creative. So
has it become easier?
It has, because I think it has, especially where brands or we are allowed creative freedom, because that's the only thing that blocks a creative is creative freedom. So if my creativity was always kept, I wouldn't be where I am today. So even every brand we work with, the first thing we suggest in a room is creative freedom, because it becomes easier in terms of you getting used to it, the stage nervousness, the butterflies, wherever. But you knowing that, okay, I get to do what I do instead of come out and do what they ask me to do, because that would limit how much passion I put into it, because it's more controlled than it is myself.
Do you still get nervous before a performance?
I wouldn't say nervous. There's a feeling, man, that we need to figure out between excited and nervous. I don't know if it's the same thing, because nervous is, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, right? But I don't get that. I'm just excited, So the feeling is,
but your stomach's moving around a little bit. You're keyed up.
yeah, it's like, I think I'm always thinking of the cool moments in the performance, if it's performing. Like, I remember
and there's an expectation.
Yeah. So I remember, because the Idols performance was one of my best performances ever, right? But I think there, I was just on autopilot in terms of let's kill the show. But I think the Miss SA performance was, this is Miss South Africa, it's on SABC3, and I've got these many dancers.
Don't mess it up.
And I got, so there it was like, the crown is in front of the stage. Yeah. So I'm so excited to see, because also, I think a pageant is more a bit serious and model focused. And, so I almost knew that I was going to bring out the energy part and the fun hype moment of the whole event. So as people are waiting or quiet, they're just going to get this ball of energy come on stage to just revive this thing and then bring it back down to the crowning.
When we started this conversation, you told me about the typical day that you'd had, and it was a workout and visiting your dad and then recording and then doing this and then doing that. How would you describe your work ethic? And before you answer the question, I want you to talk to younger South Africans about the importance of a work ethic, particularly when it comes to starting your own business or starting your own brand.
Yeah.
What's your approach?
So my work ethic is, no one's going to tell you to stop. So a lot of people have a you need to start mentality. You need to start. But they forget that no one's going to tell you to stop. So I'll keep going and I'll keep adding and I'll keep growing and I'll keep doing more. My work ethic is that. It's the more factor. It's not, let me do enough and I'm tired, I can rest. I'm always thinking of more, And I think what people need to understand is that, yes, after starting, you need to understand that it's your baby and it's in your hands. It's almost like belief and it's almost like belief. People aren't going to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. So you need to first believe in yourself, tell yourself that you're dope and you can, And once you've started, you'll realize that the growth of this thing is dependent on you. So the rain might rain and you might get watered, yes, but you need to water yourself with the hose, with the water, with the jug, with the
But what about those deep, dark moments of self doubt? Because there's not a single person in the performance space
yeah,
that doesn't feel that, whether it's by yourself when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning,
yeah,
or whether you're at the gym and all of a sudden you realize that it's hard. That thing, we all suffer to a greater or lesser extent from
yeah,
this thing called imposter syndrome.
yeah. So everything I have is a God given talent. Life is given by God. So the first thing I acknowledge is that. So when I've removed myself completely from the whole equation, because it's God gave me life, God woke me up in this day, God gave me the talent. So everything is on Him. So I don't think I spend over 10 minutes when that feeling comes or when that thought comes, because it's not me, it's not mine. I don't own it. So I do it for the glory of God. So when that feeling comes in, it's like, okay, God, take over. And then I keep moving, So I think that's how I've overcome those feelings and those thoughts, because that's how I overcome a room as well. Because people enter a room and feel some type of way based on who's in the room. So he's a better dancer. He's taller. He's got a cooler jacket, a cooler sneaker, better music, better emceeing skills, better teeth, better jokes, better. There'll always be someone better than you in anything you do, but there's only one of you. So when you hold on to the fact that there's only one of you, then you're good, because you can be replaced in what you do, but you can't replace with who you are. And that's how I've overcome the imposter syndrome, or the doubt, or the anguish, or the feeling like you're not worthy, etc.
You're also a philosopher. I mean, that's really good advice. And I mean, I'm considerably older than you are, and that's really good advice.
Yeah.
And what I love about an interaction with new people, particularly interviewing someone, is when the interviewer learns from the interviewee. I'm going to bank that.
Please bank that. We all need to be a sponge to knowledge, man. Like a sponge wouldn't ask if something is hot, cold, juice, milk.
Just take it all in.
It takes it in, and then you do with what you don't need to,
And when you squeeze it all out, something maybe magical comes out of it.
Exactly.
I think we should write a book together called
Yes.
The Sponge.
Yes, J&R.
So as we come to the end of this conversation, do you think about the future? Are you a brand planner as far as Robotboi is concerned? Do you have a 1-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan? I don't know.
So what's funny with the planning is that I used to plan a lot until COVID happened. Then I stopped planning, because everybody stopped planning after COVID. Like COVID wiped out like 2 years of everybody's planning.
Have you picked it up again?
Yeah. Because everything we do is calculated, So in the team, and shout out to Kelvin, in the team, we make sure all the moves are calculated, and everything we do is with intention. So the plan is to grow what we do at different scales, and to grow obviously the talent, and grow the reach, and grow the mark, the Robotboi mark overseas, international, to bring back the attention to home, for people to go, there's more of you guys back home. There's more of this, that. And even me doing a lot of things is so that I can relate to more people too. Because in music, all I'll know is music. But in dance, I'll know dance. And in routine, I'll know routines. But in production, I'll know camera. That's why by the time I get to a production, I'm dancing with the dancers, mic control, voice audible, knowing which GIF to look at, which lights I need to avoid, how to move the stage, where to look at the crowd, So I know a lot so that I can produce a lot and be the best at what I do. And that's the growth level that we're planning. We're planning to be the Michael Jacksons, Chris Browns of South Africa, with influence and talent, and also have the knowledge, have enough knowledge to then build something like a school, or like a facility where people can get exposed to certain things that they never got to be exposed to. Because a kid will never know they're good at taking photos if they've never held a camera. So if you put a setup where they can play around and mess around and play, and instruments, and see and try, it's like a football. Like God bless Sia Kolisi's people for giving him a rugby ball. Had he not ever touched the rugby ball, he would have not known or loved it. So that's the exposure you need to give people in order for them to realize their purpose.
Robotboi, thank you so much. What a pleasure
Thank you.
it was talking to you, and I wish you nothing but the best in your future career.
Thank you for having me. Much love.